It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
This is the Cosmick Voice. Cosmick Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business with your hosts, Chris Nanolini and Mick Michaels. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmick Voice. This is Season 4, Episode 13. I am here with my co-host, Chris Nanolini.
We is here. What's going on?
And I am Mick Michaels. Welcome back, everyone, to another show. Chris, welcome back to another show. How are you?
Mick, thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well, brother. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well myself. I'm doing fantastic. So, yeah, we're both doing well. So, yeah.
That's good. I got a hoodie on. I'm not very happy about it.
Yeah, that we had a turn of events here for the weather. Today, well, the day that we're recording this, I mean, we went from sunshine to warm to freezing cold to heavy rains to downpours to flooding to high winds to cloudy skies. There was a little bit of snowfall in certain area. Upper parts of Pennsylvania had gotten snow cover. This was like end of the world apocalyptic type stuff.
It's ridiculous. I don't mind. Again, and I've said it before, I'm a hoodie and shorts guy, but I don't want to be freezing in my hoodie. Like, I just want a little brisk chill. Well, this is just ridiculous.
A little bit more than a brisk chill today. Somebody
this morning
should have a talk with Puxatawny Phil.
That's right. It was freezing. It was pouring. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think somebody got it wrong.
You think?
But that check has been cashed. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
Weather people, the only one that can constantly get it wrong and get paid.
I know. Well, podcasters, too. It doesn't matter, right?
Well, that's true, too. That's true.
Apparently so. So I don't know. I mean, what did they say? It's always darkest before the dawn. It's always coldest before.
Say.
So we'll see.
We'll
see.
That's what they say.
Anything else going on in your fabuloso world?
No, man, no. Just, gearing up for, nicer weather than what we are currently having at the time of recording this. But no, man, concert season's back. I got a lot of shows coming up I'm super excited about. The world's kind of sort of opening up again. And, that's it, man. Just kind of getting back to some type of real life.
Apparently, Philadelphia just recently, as of this time of this recording the show, had put the mask mandate back just the other day. So they're requiring masks.
That is correct, but according to the news, that not everybody's following it.
Not everybody's following it?
It's really weird. Like, you can walk into the airport, you don't have to wear a mask through TSA, or you do have to wear a mask through TSA, but after you're through TSA, you don't have to. I don't know. It's so bizarre, and who knows, man? Who knows? We're the only city that's doing it. New York's not even doing it. It's crazy. So
it's confusing.
It is, and that's the issue, right? It's just confusing. Either we're doing it or we're not doing it. This morning, I saw on the news that they were having issues at the airport because certain places of the airport are not, they're not making it mandatory. Some are letting you go, some aren't. It's very, very confusing, and I think that's the issue. And
yeah, I think people are just tired of being confused because it's like in and out. I'm in, I'm out. You can, you can't. Come in, stay out. Don't go. Whatever.
And then being the only big city that's doing it, is even more frustrating. I don't know. I'm just looking forward to the shows I got coming, and hopefully I won't have to be wearing a mask in those venues. We'll see, man. But other than that, I'm doing good. Can't complain. How about you, man? Everything good on your end?
Yeah, staying busy in this big podcasting world of ours. Nah, but I'm staying busy. This has been a productive year thus far. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. Year. Well, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. And sometimes you have to do that, but it's been a good year so far. I am looking forward to the summer, not just for the weather, but just kind of, things open up. You get to go out more, do things. I got some things scheduled for the summer in terms of releases and stuff, so I'm kind of excited. I try to go back over our shows and learn something myself. Sometimes I say things and My wife says that sometimes I say things and I don't even know what I'm saying. And I guess I agree with her. At this age, sometimes it's just kind of like I'm kind of like letting things kind of spew out. And maybe once in a while something intelligent comes out. So thank God we edit the show. I try to suck out some of the intelligence. But I go back and I pay attention to myself and you. And I say, they may have something there. Let me give that a shot. So, I got some things on the back burner for the summer. So I'm kind of excited and moving forward. One of the things about being an artist is you're always ahead of the schedule in terms, so to speak, because you're already planning 6 months ahead, whether it's a release or a host of shows or, photo shoot, video shoot. It's always something that's happening down the line or you're preparing for something.
Yeah.
Some bands are 12 months or more, and I understand the bigger the band, the more they have at stake. Their schedule, bigger and popular you are, I guess you can kind of work out a schedule, 12 months, 16 months, 18 months, 2 years, so on and so forth. I never like going too far past 6 months, simply because, like we talked about before, this business, all of a sudden everything can change.
Yeah.
Everyone experienced that when COVID hit, right, and the shutdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, everything I had planned just basically, shut down. I almost didn't get home. It's that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, like, we're always kind of like living in the future. And sometimes because of that, and I've had this problem quite often for myself, it's a personal problem. Yeah, I've gone to a doctor, and he said, well, you just got to live with it. I've gotten to the point I'm living so far in the future as an artist, I miss out on that experience right then and there. Because you're always planning. You're always in that planning stage. I got to get ready for this. I got to do this for this and this and this. And you miss some things that are happening right then and there. I'm trying to get better at that. We've talked about that before, especially with me. Sometimes I don't get to enjoy the show as often as some of the other members do because I'm doing all this other stuff just to get to the show, and then sometimes I'm disconnected and I miss out.
We've talked about it before. I am 100% that way. As soon as that show's over, I'm not sitting back and enjoying it and soaking it in, whether it was a failure or a success, because I'm already thinking of the next one. What are we doing next? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I am the same way, man. I've missed so many. I've probably missed so many great things because I'm in band business mode, and I'm not really kind of taking back, letting it just kind of enjoying that moment. I'm enjoying the moment on stage, live, but once that's over, man, I'm thinking of the next one. It's how it is with guys like you and I. I mean, it's just how I've been like that my entire career. I'm just always looking for the next one. It's almost like a drug, right?
It's a level of intensity that it does wear you out. When you're younger, you don't realize it. As I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize it more and more. And I have made note that to become more aware and to try to enjoy just a little bit more. I mean, comment has been made over the years. Years ago, I just kind of like, whatever, just, pay attention to what I'm saying here because we got things we have to work on. And now, now I kind of take it a little bit more and I go, well, maybe I'll just back off just a little bit, but I can't back off too much because then I'm afraid I'm going to miss the mark. But it's something I'm working on. So you know what I mean? You know how it is. It's very intensive at times. Just from experience, try to enjoy that moment because it happens so fast and it's gone. And you look back and you go, man, I don't, I know I was there, but I was engaged in this or that, and I didn't take that moment. And sometimes that moment to connect with is just, it could be groundbreaking on a lot of different levels.
I've probably forgotten more shows than I've played than the ones I remember. Sometimes old, friends of mine on social media will dig up an old flyer and I'll look at it and go, God, I don't remember this show at all. Like, it's just, I don't even remember. That's why, because once it's over, I'm moving on to the next.
Yeah, that happens. I get it. Sometimes they kind of blur and you're like, well, was that for that show or that show? Or if you got multiple things going on, it can be tough. But like I said, it's a work in progress. Being an artist is a work in progress, right? Because you're trying
That is for sure.
Better what you do, hone what you do. It's the same with the other end, too, is how you conduct business. And, you want to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? A lot of people say that. And unfortunately, in the world that we've created for everybody, past, present, and future, it's like we don't get to enjoy things until later in life, and some people don't even get to enjoy it then. So it's kind of a weird rat race that we carry over into even the things that we love and are super passionate about. Anyway, not to do my Dr. Phil routine, but tonight's episode, what we're going to talk about is artists and multi-projects, the importance of it, to stay relevant for the brand and how to balance things. So basically, we're going to talk about like being an artist and being involved in multiple projects, which I see is a bigger thing now than I remember when I was young, right? I mean, guys in multiple bands. I mean, I still have a hard time being in one band and getting everything done. I mean, and back in the old days, you just didn't want to bother with somebody that was kind of moonlighting in a couple different bands.
Yeah.
For a lot of different reasons, and I can bring that up later. But, you know, you needed that focus, you needed that. But it happens now. And now, because of the way the industry is, it seems that multiple projects are the key to relevance, especially as we build our brand. What do you think, buddy? I mean, you've been involved in multiple things. I mean, you've made it not a habit, but it's part of your everyday thing now.
Yeah, you know, man, it is. And again, like you had said, it's something that I've kind of, and I completely agree with you. When I was younger, I was like, what do you mean that guy's doing something else? What, you know, because your fear is he's, you know, that person's going to leave that band you love full time and join another band, but whatever. But as I've gotten older, and especially with the age, again, I feel like we repeat ourselves constantly, but I mean, it's just it's the way of the world. With the age of social media now, it is about branding yourself as a single artist sometimes, because sometimes artists want to reach out and do other things. You know, maybe they don't want to do, let's just say Joe Smith is in a band and it's, you know, it's classic metal. Well, maybe he has something in him where he wants to do something different. Maybe he wants to do a little more industrial or maybe some rock, and he has the time and the money and the creative energies to go outside of what he's doing and do other things and feed that need, that drug where you just feed that drug to keep moving forward and doing different things. And as I get older now, I'm a firm believer in going, if your brand is good, if your brand is big, and if you're doing things that'll lead people to look at you doing other projects, right? Like if you're successful in one thing and you go out and do another, that your hope is that your fans will follow you to that other, or vice versa. Somebody may find you in your new project and go, oh, he's in that, I'm going to check that band out, or, you know, whatever, solo artist, however it is. I'm always a big believer in it could go either way. People could follow you to the new project, or people could follow you to your old current project. It's that connection, right? I don't necessarily see it as something that everybody should do, but I don't really look down on it when there are people that do it. You know, not as much as I did when I was younger, obviously, because I feel like you had said, it's just the thing to do, right? Like so many artists are doing it now. I mean, you just even taking the Foo Fighters, you know, before the unfortunate death of Taylor, they were big doing the Foo Fighters, right? Then they did that Bee Gees thing, and then they did that, you know, the movie where they were like a thrash metal band, and you know, they're putting out records under those projects, and they're just you know, Dave Grohl did that Probot project a number of years ago with his favorite artists, Lemmy, and, you know, all these kind of other guys. And, you know, everybody just kind of reaching out and doing other things to show you what else they're interested in, or just to kind of put it out there. I mean, Halford too, when Halford left Priest, he started that band too, and that was completely different from, now he left Priest, but it was completely different from what he was doing. So there, you know, there was another side of him that he wanted people to see, and now it's more relevant than ever. Now everybody has more than one project. You know, it's weird that people don't have more than one project going on. So really, you know, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this.
Sure.
So you mentioned a lot of the more A-listers in the metal world or the music world. Is it easier for them to do it because they already have an audience? One, they have the financial means, they have the resources, the connections, but they also have the audience. What has become normal at the higher levels makes good business sense, right? This is why I think over the years you've seen more and more super bands put together. They're trying to collectively pool their resources to do something. Some have worked out well, some haven't. Some have made a splash, and some you didn't even know that they were on the radar. But is that same model valid for those who don't have the financial backing, don't have the audience, don't have the resources, haven't made the connections? Is it as valuable to them as it is the A-listers, B-listers? What do you think?
You know, Mick, I'm going to say this from personal experience. I think that I think in this day and age, especially as you get older, especially guys our age, and I could use me for a perfect example. Now that I'm a little bit older and I have these opportunities because a lot of people that I know, a lot of people in my scene, everybody is kind of working with other people. And you and I have had this conversation before that, now that we've all kind of learned through COVID that we can do all this stuff at home, we don't all have to go to a studio and be together. We can all do it from the comfort of our living room. It gives you that opportunity to work with people that you've always wanted to work with, especially now that I'm older. I'm surrounded by talented people who are friends of mine. So when someone like yourself, even, and you and I have had projects together before, and I can honestly say, right now we have something coming out very shortly. And it's one of those things where you go, someone asks you and you go, oh my God, I've always wanted to work with that person. This is a killer opportunity. Why would I say no? So I think it's really personal for the most part. I think your A-listers do it for different reasons, but I think people like on our level, I think they do it because it's just a creative outlet. It's something different that they want to do. It's something, it's another side of them. It's like I said before with you, you and I get to work with other people that maybe we would normally never work with, especially like the Here and Now Artist Initiative that we did a year or so ago. We got to be in a song together with, a bunch of killer artists that we may never have been with before. And even though we didn't all record it together, we're on a song together, right? We all played on this project together. And even though we weren't in the same room, we all did it together. We all did it the same way in our home and whatever the case may be. So to say that, yeah, like I was able to have a little bit of, a portion of a song done with all these numbers of artists, yourself included, I think it's really cool. And I think for me anyway, I think that's the most exciting part, where I get to do these outside things that are kind of outside of the realm of what I normally do. Even if someone asked me to do something that I'm currently doing, my style, but someone said, hey, we want to put your vocals on this, it'd be really cool. And I because I think it's really cool where you just kind of, you get to do different things. You get to expand your brand and put your name out there. I'm a firm believer in there's never enough places to get your name out there, because there's always going to be some inner promotion somewhere. Your name will always cross with something. I'm a firm believer in that. So they may not know you from A and they may hear of you from D, but in the hopes that D will bring them to A, or, however that's going to go. But for guys like us, for people like us on our level, yeah, I think a lot of people do it because it gives them the opportunity to work with people that maybe they normally would never have worked with before if a chance did not come up. I don't see many people on our level that are going outside the realm of music per se. You and I, we're still doing metal, right? Like, it doesn't matter what the vocals sound like, doesn't matter what the music sounds like, but still heavy metal. We're not doing like a rock thing. So I don't really see a lot of people kind of going out of the realm of what they do, but I think it's more about the experience of working with other people and or having a project where you're fully responsible for everything. Like, everything is you. It's not a band experience. It's your lyrics, your ideas, your writing, and you just get these guys to just complete this project with you. And I think that's more relevant also. A lot of these bands, somebody comes out of these bands and does a solo project, right? Like Bret Michaels is one, Paul Stanley is one, Tommy Kiefer is one. When they came out of those bands were on the end, but they went kind of solo, so to speak, and they get to do things that they wanted to do that they couldn't do with. I think the only bad thing about it would just be time. You have to kind of measure out your time. What is your main responsibility? What project is going to be your main responsibility? If you're putting out a solo record, or if you have another project with friends, if you're going to make that your sole thing, then that's awesome. But you probably should make that decision, before you say yes.
This is Stephen Pearson from Rat, the Rat Bastard. You're listening to the Cosmick Voice.
Okay, let me ask you this. So I'm going to play devil's advocate with a few more questions.
Absolutely.
So let's just say indie artists. Should they accept or should they agree to any side project that may come up? So if they're asked, do they just say yes? I once had an artist say to me, just say yes and figure it out afterwards. So no matter what you're asked, you just say, yes, I could do it, and then you figure it out. So should we take advantage of when those opportunities come, regardless of... Because then my next question would be, how diverse should you go as an indie artist? Because you brought up a couple good points. Let's take Paul Stanley with Kiss and then his Soul Station. That's night and day.
Yes.
So he chose to go a completely different way.
But it was always something he wanted to do. So
right.
Now at this point in his career, he was able to pull those resources to be able to do it. You know what I mean?
Right, him at his level.
At his level, right. And I think that most people probably that bought that record are fans of Kiss and or Paul Stanley. I mean, my mom's not running out to buy it, even though those songs are her era. But me being a Paul Stanley fan and a fan of that music also, but I probably, even if I wasn't necessarily a fan of that music, I probably would have bought it because it was Paul Stanley, just to hear. I'm not a Dave Grohl guy, but when he put out that Probot record a number of years ago, I bought it because I was interested in hearing it.
Okay, so it makes sense, again, at that higher echelon
level,
of right?
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But as an indie artist, one, do you accept any offer that comes in to be a part of some project as a branding tool, as a promotional tool, marketing tool, as a resource building tool? And two, is there a point where the project could be too drastic of a change for your brand, for the audience, for your creativity? What do you think?
So, because of the line of work that I do during my daytime job, I'm in warehousing and manufacturing.
Men's work.
My company's motto is get it on the dock. We'll figure it out later. And I am a very detailed. I try to be organized. Like I that's just who I am. I need A, B, C, D. I'm not good at. I need a plan, right? And the business I'm in isn't really good with planning because we're in the shipping and receiving market. So things are constantly coming and going when they're not supposed to be there, when they're supposed to be there. So the moral of the story is my boss always says, just get on our dock, make the money, we'll figure it out later. So when you see that, like, just say yes and you'll figure it out later. I personally don't necessarily agree with that thinking. I understand the thinking, and I would love to be that person that just says yes and I'll figure it out. But I usually only say, I usually only say yes to things that excite me. And then I'm just honest about the project. You know what I mean? Like, if it's just something, the Here and Now Artist Initiative, which, listen, it would have been super cool to do a couple shows with all those people.
Oh yeah.
Let's not lie about this here. But it was something that it wasn't going to, it was only going to take a limited amount of time, recording wise, and the rest was going to be done in promotion and helping it get out there. So saying yes to that, and of course I was excited about it and what it was for, that excites me. So I only say things that excite me, but I am honest about it. I will say, listen, if this is going to be a current project, if this thing is going to go somewhere or at least be active, I will say, this is my priority. I will do what I can when I can. And if it doesn't work out, then no harm, no foul. Thank you for asking me, and we're done here. I try not to make it that big of a deal, but if it is something that I'm interested in, if it gets me excited, yes, I will definitely say yes. As long as I'm honest about it with myself and the people that are involved, then yes, I will say yes and then figure out the rest later. As far as doing something outside the realm, man, I think, again, you and I always refer to our age, but for me, it may take me out of my comfort zone, which that's a whole nother thing to deal with. But at the end of the day, like, when we're dead and gone, and our music's always going to be out there. Will someone listen to it when we're dead and gone? Who knows? It's not for me to say. But I know it's out there. And I don't necessarily think that it is a bad thing, no matter who you are, what level you are. If you do go outside the realm of what you're known for or what people know you for, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. It may not work out. People may not dig it, and that's okay too, right? Like, Metallica did that god-awful, album Lulu with, I don't know, whatever the guy's name was. And, it was a complete horrendous disaster, and they'll never do it again. But they, again, I understand we're talking about that level. But the idea is they went and did something that they normally wouldn't do, and it didn't work, and they probably won't do it again. But even on our level, if we do something that is out of the realm, it's not going to affect us in any way. I think anything that gets your name out there is a decent thing, as long as it's not obviously horrendous. But music fans love music so much that people are going to either love it and hate it, but I don't think it's going to hurt your brand because you're just doing it as something on the side that you've always wanted to do.
Sure.
That's just my opinion.
You are listening to The Cosmic Voice with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels.
So, in a sense, as an artist, I mean, it could be just basically experience-based, right? Like, you do it for the experience. Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But, you know, it's not just the experience. There always is an opportunity to learn more. And at the end, you know, you're connecting and you're broadening your base. If it was a failure, that doesn't mean you didn't get anything out of it. And what's a failure? A failure, who deems it really as a failure? If you're talking about financial success and you're going to stack it up to an A-lister thing, well, okay. I mean, if that's the way you want to look at it. But a lot of, like you said, for us at our level, a lot of it's just time. I mean, there's money involved, don't get me wrong. And like we've talked about in some of the other episodes, one about some positive things about the modern day industry is there's some things that are much more affordable. It's just a little bit of a time investment. Maybe you have to learn, you know, learning curve to some stuff. I started out with the idea that I was going to do a solo project with some music that I was writing that wasn't necessarily usable for Corners of Sanctuary. So I just kept toying with it, and I thought, well, you know, maybe I'll do a solo record. You know, I was putting it together, and I literally worked on it for 6+ years. So it wasn't a priority, but it was something I kept going back to it in the back of my head. Sure. And I got to a point where it's like, I got to finish it, and I got to get involved with some other people to help me finish it, because I can't do it all on my own. I didn't want to do it. At first, I thought I did. And then I was like, no, I don't. I want to work with other people, and I don't want to rely on drum machines and this, that. I wanted actual players. Right. And the goal was I was going to do all the vocals. You know, and I laid tracks and stuff like that, worked on it, reworked it, and I was like, if I don't want to hear myself, I don't think there's going to be, you know, so I had to bring in, I definitely wanted to bring in somebody else. I did keep one track for myself. I thought was the better of the tracks. It was right in my key. Anyway, my point is I spent a lot more time on it than I actually did a financial investment, if that makes sense. Right. It was artistic time and energy in that. When I got to the point, it says, okay, it's done. It's time to let it go. It was released digitally. I mean, so like you're saying, there is a minimal investment, but how you maximize that or how you make use of it, that's a personal choice. So I'm a firm believer, like, if the opportunity presents itself, try to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And when I say take advantage of it, not in the negative sense, take advantage of the fact that you were given this opportunity and try to make good on it somehow. You know, part of our title of this show, or the premise theme of the show, was how do you balance that then, right? So I think we've come to terms with the decision of the show here has been that, yes, take advantage of these opportunities because they're positive things. They're learning experiences, they're connectivity experiences to build a stronger base. If you remember season 1, you're as strong as the level of your connections to get things done, to move further, right? And each connection should somehow bring you further down the path that you want to go to. If your connections aren't doing that, even if they have the best intentions, it doesn't mean that they're horrible people or horrible connections, but they're not the connections that you want to further your brand. Because again, at the bottom line, the end of the day, it's a business, so you want to make sure of that. But this gives you this opportunity to learn so much more about the music world and your own music world. Like you may learn what you don't like, and you learn what you do like. And you're like, hey, this is kind of cool, and I could do this. So that the next time you do it, it could be even better, right? Yeah. And, you know, I mean, like, if you look at it in terms of, like, take it out of the artist context, put it into an engineer or a producer in a studio. They often work with multiple artists of different genres, different styles, different levels. And that's how they kind of hone their own musical chops in terms of knowing what works and what doesn't work, what techniques work. Yeah. Some of these guys, you know, some of these producers, they can pick like the horse races and go, that's a hit. If you just add this chord or you do the vocal like this, that's a hit. right? And how do they get that? Now, some people do have ears, but talent only takes you so far. It's the honing of that talent. That's the experience, right, that these people have. So I think as artists, we deserve to give ourselves that opportunity. We should allow ourselves that opportunity to hone that skill. And if it's just a matter of, working with other people, being part of a different project, whether, like you said, whether it's in your context of your genre or style, or even if you push the limits a little bit, I think that's okay until you get comfortable. Like, honestly, like going back to Paul Stanley, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I don't think he would have been as comfortable doing that with the Soul Station. I don't deny that he would have done a great job at it at all. And I know his first solo album, 78 solo album, a lot of people look at, it's sappy love song and this, that, and the other thing. And though it was credited as sounding the most Kiss-like, I've always been of the opinion that that was the best album because it was cohesive and it had a lot of emotional content to it. All them songs are just great. Listen, Ace Frehley's is a rockin' album, but there's only a couple songs that are mixed really well, and then they're all over the place. It's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that.
I feel like Paul Stanley's cohesive was a good word that you used, but I felt like it was more well put together in terms of where the songs were placed and how they kind of played through the record, where everybody else's I kind of felt were like all over the place. Like they just threw songs in a row and said, okay, this is how the record's going to be. Where Paul Stanley, I feel like, in my opinion, his records, the way his songs flowed, the way they kind of fed into one another, had a nice beginning and then a bridge and then a middle and then a bridge and then an end, where I feel like everybody else's was kind of all over the place.
I agree with you. I think, again, it was approached as an artist.
Yeah.
Someone who had a deep relationship with the material that they were working on.
Yeah.
And again, that's not to take away from the other guys at all, because, they all genuinely did great. If you consider other Kiss albums at the time, maybe they didn't, but by today's standards, that's still good stuff.
Yeah.
If you're an artist where you're finding that you're kind of like in a rocky position with yourself, your material, your brand, like, I don't know, what am I going to do? It doesn't seem to be working. This could be an opportunity if it's presented. And whether it's brought to you or you have to go looking for it, in today's world, I think it's purely acceptable to try to ask to be on something, to jump on something. It's normal business now. Years ago, either you were trying to lobby secretly or your name was big enough that people were going to come to you and go, we have this project. Can you do this? Rockwell, Michael Jackson, can you just sing on this? Right. And he was like, nah, well, you owe me. You owe my father. Okay. That kind of thing. I think in today's industry, it's okay to shoot an email. Hey, I see that you're doing this. I would love to be a part of this, and here's what I could offer it. Let me know what you think. Here's some of my music, that kind of thing. You just have to go out and ask, right? But if you're finding that you're struggling a little bit, maybe that's the way to break out of that. And I'll give you a pure example for myself. For many, many years, I followed the same model over and over and over and over. You write a bunch of songs, you record those bunch of songs, you put them out on an album and you release those songs, then you tour those songs, and when that runs out, you write some more songs, you record those songs, you put them on an album and you release those songs, and then you tour those songs. And I kept going over and over.